Hello and welcome to the Secretariat. You're watching the Global Capsule. Sushma, a very eventful week, I must say.
Yes.
Of course, let's start with UK Prime Minister Starmer's visit to India. It's been widely reported. The English press has been following Starmer's visit and Starmer's moves in India, the Starmer-Modi meet. And of course, investments have been, one of the main focus areas is investments, UK investments in India. But besides that, Starmer also said that UK universities will now have campuses in India. That's a big one because, our students have been going out, going to UK, going to US now.
Yes.
The campuses coming into India is going to be big news.
Yes, absolutely. I think what is striking about this visit is the British Prime Minister's enthusiasm about coming here. In fact, you mentioned the British press, and there's one story in the British press about how Starmer has been praising the digital ID of India, which is Aadhaar. And they've talked about the fact that, people have criticized it, but he says, no, we also need a digital ID like Aadhaar. And apparently there are some discussions going on so that even the UK can have a digital ID on the lines of Aadhaar, which is really very interesting. But as you rightly pointed out, he's come here with this large delegation, and education is one of the things which are high on the agenda. Young students are going abroad to study. They have been going to America, they're going to the UK, and now they're setting up these campuses here. Apparently, they're going to be at least 6 campuses. And the first one is going to come up in Bengaluru, University of Lancaster, and another one is going to come up in Gift City, and that is, I think, University of Sussex. So this is going to be wonderful for students over here, gives them more options. They don't have to spend all the money to travel abroad.
And not just Indian students. Students from South Asia, from Southeast Asia can also come and sort of
utilize
absolutely
these facilities, which, you rightly say, all the South Asian region students can come here instead of spending all that money to go to the UK and facing all, of course, the immigration problems which are there. And this is a win-win situation because it provides revenue for the UK, which they want from foreign students, and yet it provides the kind of education that everybody wants. British education is very highly prized in our country. So that's a big thing.
And also the India-UK FTA has been signed. But one of the things Starmer also said that there's going to be no relaxation in terms of visa for Indians. And that is one of, again, that's a highlight kind of a thing. And, the British press has extensively reported. And this comes right after the H-1B visa confusion.
Yes. Well, I think he has, of course, his domestic constituency to worry about, and there's been so much of anti-immigration protests in the UK right now. But I think we should look at the positives, and one of the positives is that, we're going to get, they have offered us in that trade agreement, 99% of our products are going to go at virtually zero tariff rate. So at a time when exporters here are worried about the American market and the heavy tariffs, here they have a market which is an advanced economy, which can consume large amounts of our, industrial goods, our agricultural goods, and that has been opened up to us. And I think what we've given in return is really nothing that's going to affect our own industry. The lowering of tariffs on whiskey and wines, and that's going to be over a period of time, on cheeses and and of course automobile components. But it's not that we have given away much. Yes, we would certainly have liked more on a movement of skilled professionals. That's an area that we are now talking with the European Union also in their agreement. And we have something in that with the Indo-EFTA, the European Free Trade Association, where we have concluded an agreement. So that's an area that I would say is a work in progress. But the plus point, as I said, is that Starmer is tremendously enthusiastic. I mean, he's brought a delegation of 120 people. I mean, it's giant. It's a giant delegation.
Let's move away from Starmer. Trump's Gaza Israel peace deal. Now, that is a big one. Of course, it seems that finally there's some kind of a solution to this conflict, to this war, which is now 2 years old. I mean, it's been going on for 2 years, and that's quite a scary thing. It's impacted the economy, it's impacted lives, most important. And of course, India's Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, called up Trump, congratulated him, called it a historic deal. How do you see the situation, considering that in the last few months, India-US relationship hasn't gone the way one had expected?
I think one needs to view this phone call between Modi and Trump with some amount of caution, given the fact that there's been so much volatility in the relationship. We simply cannot say that just with one phone call, the whole situation has been resolved. But yes, clearly there is an easing of tension.
There is always a tendency to overread situations.
Overread situations. But I think the plus point is it seems as if the US has recognized that there has been an overreach as far as Trump is concerned. His harangue against India about buying Russian oil, and the fact that India, on the contrary, is continuing to buy Russian oil. And in fact, September cargoes are actually slightly higher than before. So India is trying to say, look, this is our own sovereign decision, and please don't interfere with it. And in the US itself, there are several interest groups which have appealed to Trump.
In fact, the 100% tariff that was proposed has also been shelved.
Yes.
100% tariff on pharmaceuticals.
On pharmaceuticals. That has been shelved. That's a big thing for the Indian pharma industry, because we supply so much of their generics. And I think they have recognized that it's kind of, it's a self-goal for them if they try and impose it, because it will raise costs for the American consumer.
Absolutely.
And Indian generics have brought down costs of pharmaceutical products in the US in a big way. So there they have brought it down. And all this has come together, the dialogue between Modi and Trump, and the decision not to impose the tariff on pharma products. And I think, of course, the third plus point is that the Prime Minister has called Trump his friend once again.
Absolutely.
Till now, he had stopped calling him his friend. He says, I called up my friend, and congratulated him on the, on the Gaza situation, on the Gaza peace deal. And of course, coming back to Gaza, that is something that, again, that one needs to treat with some amount of caution. Honestly, till one sees the hostages being exchanged, you have a sense of apprehension, because so many times there has been, some kind of forward movement. But of course, this seems to be far more structured, and so many stakeholders are involved. Arab nations are involved. The EU is involved. And of course, Trump has laid down the law to Netanyahu, which is a big thing. He's told Netanyahu that he had to accept this kind of a deal. So, I don't know whether Trump will get the Nobel Prize for it, but it's again a work in progress, I would say.
Sushma, now let's look at Taliban Foreign Minister Ameer Muttaqi's visit to India. He's going to be here till October 16th. Now, that is another very important development. Of course, there is this kind of a notion that India had stopped all kind of ties and relations after the Taliban came back, after, of course, the US troops withdrawal. But it wasn't the case. India had always continued with some kind of diplomatic, not diplomatic relations, but relations in the sense
sort
when
people-to-people
contact. And in fact, when they had the earthquake in 2022, India was one of the first countries to have sent aid in terms of medicines, food, and things like that. So how do you read this situation? And also, Sushma, the fact that India has now decided to open a full-fledged embassy. Until now, we had a technical mission, but now it's going to be full embassy.
I think this last point that you have mentioned, the raising of our diplomatic mission to the status of an embassy, is really big news, because till now, all these years, we have not done that. We've kept it to a very low level. And as you very rightly pointed out, we have At the same time, we have had contact with the Taliban government. We have been assisting them. And though it has always been a bit low-key, I think what has happened right now is, of course, apart from the fact that there is greater need to provide support to Afghanistan, even though the government may not be precisely the kind of government that we would want in terms of the fact that the kind of treatment of women over there. But at the same time, there is need to provide humanitarian relief to Afghanistan. And India, as you rightly said, has always provided infrastructure
and
relief.
India has always been a friend to Afghanistan.
India has always been, and we have so many infrastructure projects actually underway even now. And India was the one which built the Parliament building, which was inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi in 2015. Now, that might have been the pre-Taliban era, but that kind of process, that kind of work, it has not stopped, as you pointed out. And we have continued that. So that is significant. What is also significant, of course, is that the relations between Afghanistan and Pakistan have now deteriorated sharply. And today, of course, you have the report of explosions in Kabul, which reportedly are from Pakistan trying to attack leaders of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, and which is obviously a blow to the sovereignty of the Taliban government. But that, of course, is a developing situation. And it is interesting that it is at this point that the foreign minister of Afghanistan is making his first visit to India, and India has announced the upgrading of its diplomatic mission. So that means that our relations with Afghanistan are going to be improving in the days to come.
And that's critical considering infrastructure projects, and Afghanistan actually serves as a gateway to Central Asian countries.
Yes, it's a pivotal country for India. As far as connectivity to Central Asia is concerned, to the Central Asian republics of Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. I mean, you are aware that there was a proposal for a gas pipeline from Turkmenistan via Afghanistan. But because of the fact that it has to go through Pakistan, that has fallen through. But there are many other such proposals, and India has always been active in Afghanistan, and on a people-to-people basis, Afghans are very friendly towards Indians, and vice versa. There's a great bonhomie and warmth between the
and
people
we've been
of
importing
Afghanistan.
Nuts, we've been importing asafoetida.
Yes, these are
saffron.
important items that we've been importing from Afghanistan, and I think Pakistan has allowed the overland route to do so.
That's all for now. See you next week. Thank you.